to life and liberty. We're all created equally in America, and we're going to live here happily in America. Our founding fathers crossed the seas and built the new world colonies. But King George wouldn't set them free, so they fought a revolution, the American Revolution.
Hi, this is Diane. You're currently watching the Just Kidding Around show. Thanks so much for joining us. This week we have Kip Metlen on our show again, and if he looks familiar, it's because you were on our show once before, weren't you?
I was, about a year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago. Well, you might remember that we open our shows with a shout out to somebody.
To somebody?
Yeah. So you want to look in the camera and give a shout out?
Hi, Henry. Hi, Ruthie.
Oh, I know who they are. And hi, students at South Bay, and Lydia Hawk. And hi, Mr. Feeney. I might say hi to Meryl, too.
Hi, Meryl.
She's somewhere out in our vast audience. So anyway, thank you for rejoining us.
Thank you. It's fun to be here.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to bring all these pieces in. Are they pretty heavy?
Some of them like this one are heavier than some like this.
And what is that? What does that weigh?
I don't know. It's not as heavy as me.
Oh, okay. So it's
probably 20, 30 pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
And what kind of wood is that made out of?
That's western red cedar.
Red cedar.
It blew down from a teacher's yard.
Oh.
And this is what came out of it.
So if trees blow down, you rescue trees or rescue the wood?
Some of it, like this piece.
So if people in our home audience, oh, what a wonderful close-up. So if people in our home audience had a big tree in their yard and they wanted it carved into something, do you provide that service for a fee?
Well, I have. I've been down to Medford and over to La Grande, Oregon to carve trees that were no longer alive.
What a nice thing to do. I mean, I've planted 2 trees in my life, and both of them were chopped down this last year, and it was hard for me to get over. I wouldn't even drive by. It was hard. But the trees had gotten tall and were causing problems. Yeah. So it would have been nice if I could have had them carved into something.
That's right. Anything about that big would be a size that I'd be willing to carve.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's about how big that one was. It was about that big
and
around.
Are you going to give it to Mrs. Dorian?
Why, no, I don't think I will. She can come look at it anytime.
She can look at it.
And the others that I carved out of those logs.
And how long does it take to carve something like that?
It takes forever. That one probably took me 3 months, but I didn't just get up in the morning and go to work doing that. I did lots of other things. But it's easily 3 months or longer.
Aren't you on ski patrol in the winter?
Yes, and that interferes with carving.
And you're pretty busy doing that.
Yes.
But you're just a busy man. Kip might look very familiar because he is such an active member in our community. So that took about 3 months. So could you guess about how many hours something like that took?
No, if I were carving daily during that time, I'd probably spend 2 or 3 hours at a time on it.
And then do your hands get sore?
No, it's just time to go off and do something else. And
you a little ADHD or something?
No, it might be, but it's more a fact of I got someplace with the design and it's time to just rest and see if design comes. Yes.
So when you look at a chunk of wood, do you say, I'm going to make this into a raven, or?
Sometimes.
So you do see that image sometimes in the wood, but not always?
No. It depends upon the piece of wood, or I might have seen some piece of art or an animal or something someplace else, and I say, wow, that was awesome. I'd like to try that.
And then you remember that. And what about the inlay? Is that abalone?
It is abalone.
And where would you get that?
You can buy those shapes from all the way from very small to that size there.
So you buy the shapes
from some local stores.
Local stores. Okay. Wow. And do you draw things first, or do you just start carving?
Sometimes I draw them while at meetings.
You're kidding me. That's what this cup is about? So you just sit around and sketch what what you think you would like to carve. Do you have the wood before you do that, or
No,
you just start
no,
sketching?
Some piece of paper.
Wow.
I like paper coffee cups. You can draw on them versus a ceramic
So
one.
you sketch it, and then you just wait for that right piece of wood to come along?
Right. For example, I'm considering this fish right here, or something like it, maybe like that.
But you
one.
haven't made those yet?
I haven't made those, but I've got the piece of wood, and then my brother-in-law had recently been to an art gallery where there was a fish about as long as this table, and it's just a fantastic carving, so I'm thinking I might build something that big. I happen to have a piece of wood that
Would just be
would
perfect
be just
for that.
right for that.
Yeah, yeah. What kind of woods do you work with?
Anything. This is cherry. Feel how heavy
Is that
that
a hardwood? Is this a hardwood?
Yeah,
Ooh, that is heavy.
and it's even hollow.
And it has sound in it. How did you do
It
that?
actually doesn't have sound in it.
Well, no, it's a rattle.
Yes.
Is that stones in there?
Yes, I have some obsidian and then some marbles in it.
Oh, and how'd you get those in there?
Well, you turn him over and you hollow him out,
I see it.
and then you put some form of piece of wood into there, and then paint over it so it's not very obvious.
Not
and
visible,
then it'll make
really.
some noise.
Wow. Now this is technically Native American art.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's certainly influenced by them. I'm
Yes.
not Native American unless you consider my ancestors arriving in the 17 and 1800s.
Oh, so you
We're
you
relatively new
are. Yeah,
to the continent.
yeah.
But yes, so, but I am very much, I like a lot of their art, and certainly am influenced by it,
Did
as
the
you can
Native
see.
Americans have rattles?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
But
and
they
I know
normally
they had
would
big,
make them out of cedar,
Oh, and this is cedar, and that was cherry.
That was cherry.
And that was cedar.
western red cedar
That
also.
was cedar also. And again, you like abalone, don't you?
I do. I love the way that the colors move in it. Every time you move, the colors move, and it creates motion in the carving.
Abalone is beautiful, but I also like the lines in that cedar.
Yes.
So now, it doesn't look like you finished it at all. Has it been finished?
Well, there is an oil that I put on there. It's actually a wax.
Okay.
So the portion that is not painted actually has a wax coating on it.
Oh, because it's just beautiful. The grain is beautiful.
I like what the grain does.
Yeah, and how does that hold up over time, since it's not shellacked or anything?
Well, it'll need to be re-waxed every now and then.
Okay.
Any place that it gets dry, it'll do that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In fact, grab that off of there.
This?
Yes,
I'm going
that-
to pick this up?
Yeah, just the grebe
has,
itself. Just the grebe. Lift him
okay.
off of there. He'll come off.
Oh, now what? He's finished differently, isn't he?
Yes, he is. But you'll notice that, and it's cedar also. But this crack was not in it. This was a piece of wood that was dried and for a long time. But there was a lot of moisture retained by that piece of wood. And over the last 3 years, that has actually created that crack.
After you carved it?
After I carved it,
You mean this? You carved this 3 years ago?
yes.
Oh, so sometimes over time,
Yes.
it just
There's
wasn't dry enough or something?
Well, I would have had to probably keep this in a dry place for probably a decade before it wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and you're
And
in the
I don't-
Northwest.
And I
so-
don't have that kind of patience.
Yeah, oh, I see. It's signed.
Yes.
Okay, Metlen, you made this in 2010. Now, do you have any of your work in galleries?
No.
You should.
Yes,
I
but
can't imagine why you don't.
well, because I haven't had enough yet. But I now have enough to start showing. So I was just
Yeah.
in Arts Walk, and it took at least this many before it's interesting to walk into. And having big things like this helped to draw people into the Arts Walk.
Oh, yeah.
They would stop and look at that, and then they would come on in and look at the rest of the things. Then.
Well, you had another one. When you were on our show last time, you had
I had a raven.
a raven. It had something in its mouth, I think a frog or something.
Oh, I brought that one, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
In fact, it
So-
probably looks like this.
Yeah, I don't know. You can show that to that's right, you did. I don't know if they can see that. He has tiles, too. He has his artwork on tiles.
Because people can afford the tiles.
Oh, there, what a good shot. Look, these camera guys are
yeah,
amazing.
see, and there's the frog. In his mouth.
And the frog's in his mouth. Can you go in even closer on that? Maybe not. Maybe not. Hold that still, kid.
Oh,
Remember what I told you?
I don't want to hold still.
Takes a while. So I have a question about this shaped wood. This isn't a log. What's this called?
That's a burl.
This is a burl?
And that's a big leaf maple burl.
Okay,
So
I've never heard that word before.
it's a growth that isn't normal. This is normal growth or near normal growth, just straight along, growing out and up.
Uh-huh.
Whereas these are the cells get excited and grow into these big lumps.
Really? How, like mushrooms on the sides or something?
Oh,
of the
even
tree?
faster than that. But these are not caused by mushrooms.
Like burl, do you know how to spell that?
B-U-R-L.
Oh, really? B-U-R-L?
Yeah.
Okay, probably everybody in our viewership knows that word but me. So
I doubt it.
I know it. Are there a lot of them in forests and things like that?
They're uncommon. So being able to get some like we have here.
Oh, so you have 3 of them here?
Well, I have.
This is a burl.
That's a
and
big,
that's a
big
burl.
leaf maple. This is a big leaf maple with a different
Okay.
coloration to it. And then that black
That
brant
is
over there.
adorable with that little bird peeking out.
Yes,
I
that-
love that little duck. How cute. I could see somebody wanting, oh, there he is on TV. He looks so cozy in there. Like
He
he's
does.
poking out of a nest or something. I could see somebody actually wanting to decorate their whole living room in this type of, it just feels
It'd be
good.
interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just amazing. The art that you have in your hand. So I'm going to go back to the burls. Do they pop off of trees
No.
without hurting the tree if somebody
No.
at home has one?
No, they've got to be cut off. And of course, when you do that, if it's a live tree, then that's a big open wound on the tree.
So if somebody has a burl at home, they shouldn't cut it off.
No, it's better off there until some point in the future when you might
Want the
to
whole
use
tree
it.
to come down.
Yes,
Okay, so we shouldn't go dig them off. But they have such cool shapes and each one's different.
they are.
So then is this, I'm embarrassed. What kind of bird did you say this is?
This is a red-necked grebe.
A grebe. Okay, I should have known that too. But he wasn't originally part of this chunk of wood.
No, I built the grebe first because I liked those colors on that bird.
But they're not from the same tree even.
No.
Not even from the same type.
No,
of
not
tree.
even the same type.
This is oak. So this sucker's probably pretty heavy.
That is heavy.
Okay. So you made him first.
Yep.
A couple years ago.
Then I found a burl.
Okay.
And then I cut the burl to shape so that he was riding inside that burl.
I like it. They look like nests.
Yes.
So may I put him
moving
back
water.
now?
Yes.
Or moving water. And is this a loon?
That is a loon.
You know,
And
I wish we could handle him, but we can't, can we?
Yes, we can.
How are we going to do that without tipping over the table?
Well,
Should we ask somebody in our audience to come up?
We could do
Volunteer?
that, or we could bring
Okay.
pieces of it.
Okay, let's do that
Well, maybe
without
we'll bring
hurting
one.
things.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
sorry, I didn't mean to cause
There
trouble.
we go.
Okay, so this is your loon. This sucker's heavy.
Yes, that's a piece of maple. And it's
So
as heavy as this cherry is.
Wow, it's just all solid wood. And what kind of tool do you use to?
I use electric tools, and I use angle grinders a lot. I like angle grinders.
Like I know what that is. Did you bring one to show
Well,
us?
no, I didn't. But it's a big tool with a motor about that. The handle is about that big and about
Okay.
that long. So you're hanging onto this, and then it's got a big circular blade on the end of it. It's
Mm-hmm.
highly dangerous to use, but you
Oh.
can really move wood in a hurry.
So you don't whittle by hand then?
No, not very much. It's dangerous. You could lose pieces.
Oh. So all these were whittled, is that, or carved?
Those were all
using
carved,
electronic
but
tools.
With electric tools, yes, mostly.
Okay. Were you ever a hand carver?
Oh, yes. These were all done with a pocket knife.
Oh, so you know about carving. Before a person uses electric tools, should they practice on small things first?
Not necessarily. A friend of mine decided that she wanted to make a whale like this one,
Yeah.
and I showed her how to hold those big heavy tools,
Oh, my
and she made a
goodness.
really neat whale out of it as her first carving.
Wow.
And it
But
was
you
about
started
that
with the
size.
pocket knife. How old were you when you started?
Oh, maybe 6 or 7.
Just a little guy.
Yeah.
And how would you, this is adorable. You did this with a pocket knife?
Yes.
I'm going to try and move it while the camera's on it. So there's a little, it's like a game.
There's 2 balls in there. And I actually
2?
did that one while I was in...
2, really?
Yep. Just started college, and I was working for a logging company.
Yeah.
And we damaged this little bitty tree. That's how big that tree was. Oh. That's not what we were logging. And I decided that tree had given its life for me. So there's a piece of it.
Oh, that is so sweet, except that one ball. Did your kids use it when they were kids?
Oh,
for
yes.
toys?
Oh, well, not a lot. They could come in here and play with it a little bit, but it wasn't really made for them.
And how'd you carve these balls in here?
Carefully.
So you're saying this is one piece of wood, there's no trick to it that you didn't put?
No.
And you carved those while they were in there?
Yes, they were about like that.
You should be teaching lessons at South Sound Community College or something.
It would be fun.
I can't imagine carving those. That must have been as challenging as some of your bigger pieces.
Well, it is, and it took a long time, probably as long as that, because I was doing other things
I
at the same
can imagine. So you carved those right inside, and this is like a chain that you carved. Is this all one piece too?
Well, it used to be. It still is, actually. It is still all attached.
So you didn't carve things separately. You carved one chunk and made it.
It's actually longer now than it used to be.
How could that be?
Because each of these, so this is how long it is now. So it goes from there to there. But each of these was a little bit inside there.
Oh, okay.
So it gained a ½ inch in length.
Oh, funny.
So you can actually make a piece of wood longer.
But it's all one piece. You
Yes.
didn't. Wow. Well, you're pretty amazing. Do you know, this camera guys told me we only have 5 more minutes left. That doesn't seem right, though.
They probably don't know how to read a watch.
Do you think? Maybe not.
No,
you better carve a watch for them to read. No, they know. They're very smart men. So, and they're saying that, let's talk about everything else before we didn't finish this. Let's talk about the loon. So on the loon's back, he did this in 2012.
And that's a little piece of birch that was left over.
Yeah. And by the way, did you know I go up, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I go up to the Puyallup Fairgrounds and look at your artwork up there, and he always wins tons of ribbons up there. So if you've seen some of these things, have some of these things been in the fairgrounds?
These mallards here won
These right here?
Yes, won a first place at the Puyallup.
Okay.
That one is going to the Arts Trails.
The other one?
Yes, the one with the abalone in it.
Okay.
And
I hope they're getting those mallards. I don't know if they are.
They're made out of one piece of honey locust.
That's one piece of wood.
Well, the bodies are. I added the wings.
And now is that a burl down there?
Yes, it is, and that's a big leaf maple burl too. And look at, it's kind of blonde looking color.
Yeah.
And this one over here is kind of chocolate color.
Okay.
And this one over here is dark chocolate
Yeah, all
color.
different colors.
All dependent
My
upon the
goodness.
wood.
And these mallards, again, you use this saw.
Yes, angle grinder.
Angle grinder, whatever.
Yes.
And you use that for this guy too?
Oh, yes.
Does he fit in there just right? I hope the camera got that, how that goes in. I just love that.
He just sits on top there like
Almost
that.
like a little puzzle.
Yeah.
Am I doing that right?
You're right.
Do loons actually carry their babies like that?
Yes, they do, and sometimes several of them.
Oh, I have, you know what? Where I park every day in the morning, there's a little killdeer.
Oh, awesome.
And she is sitting in that beauty bark. I've been watching her since she had no eggs, and she has 4 now. I sure get a kick out of watching her.
That's neat.
Birds are fun to watch.
They are.
So hopefully people, they got everything. Did we talk about these birds over here?
Those 3 little birds over there are a lot of fun to make, and they look so inquisitive with their wings and their beaks and their cute little eyes.
Are they real birds?
Oh, no.
No. I hear you have legends about all these.
I have legends about these.
Oh, the big masks.
Yeah, I made 5 of those masks and then made another animal that goes with them. That's a rattle. In this case, it's a salmon. And inside is another one, another carving.
Inside that, there's a carving?
Yeah, inside there.
Is there any way we can see that or not?
Probably not. But he's about this big, and he's an orca in this case. And then I build my legend around those three characters.
And all your masks have another piece that goes with it. And always something in the mouth, or sometimes?
No, they all do.
They all have something.
There's only 5 of them, so it's only 5 carvings.
So do you want to talk about one of your legends? Could you tell us a bit about that legend? You probably couldn't tell us the whole one. But
well, no, but I could tell you that
summarize it?
Seawolf's a big character.
Seawolf?
Yes, and he loves to eat. And he eats everything and anything. And pretty soon, the denizens of the ocean got tired of being eaten. Can you imagine that? And so they decided that they needed to get him hooked on something else.
Okay.
And you know how everybody loves salmon.
Sure.
They finally figured out a method to get him to eat salmon and quit eating them.
They stuffed an orc in his mouth?
No, they stuffed him full of salmon. And then, you know, salmon, it has those oils or whatever it is that kind of makes you sleepy like turkey. Pretty soon he's a contented, and then he's a contented sea wolf, and he no longer attacks anybody else. He just eats salmon.
He just eats salmon.
They were pretty smart to figure that out. It was all Orca's idea.
So do you have, if somebody receives one of your masks, do you give them a typed, I don't know, copy of the legend that goes with it?
Well, I built a story pole in Embler, Oregon, over by LeGrand, and it's 3 characters. It's Raven, it's Orca, and it's a panther or a cougar. And the cougar is standing on top of the top character, and he's carrying a spear.
Okay.
And I did build a story to go with that, and that story is over there.
Down in
at
Oregon.
That tree, yes.
Why would you have something in Oregon?
Well, because my brother had a row of trees, and some of them are dying, and they're just excellent trees to carve. So we built this 16-foot story pole.
16 foot, and it's right there where the tree stood.
Yes. Yeah. We stood on tractors and worked our way up to make that happen.
You are an amazing talent, and unusual too. Unusual. So I hear you have 2 boys.
We do. We have 2 sons, Ryan and Joel.
And did they get your artistic talent?
Yes, they're probably better.
Really? Are they carvers?
Well, they can. They choose other media.
Okay.
So Ryan paints and he writes stories, children's stories. And Joel is a writer, but he too can draw and paint.
Wow, isn't that something?
And Joel also made some films.
Oh, that's right. I went to see one of his films.
Yes.
And I have Ryan's book in my library.
Yes.
So at South Bay Elementary.
Yeah.
So that's pretty neat. Did a parent of yours or another relative or an extraction of some sort carve? I mean, why would you just...
My mom took a piece of cherry wood that was about this big and about that big, and she carved a mule out of it.
Okay.
And I thought, wow, that's neat. I'm going to try that. I never made a good mule, but I've made birds.
So that's what put the bee in your bonnet, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she did that with carving knives.
So the talent probably came down from your mom's side, maybe? Or the interest, anyway?
Probably from her side. My dad could turn on a hi-fi.
Well, we've got to get this stuff on YouTube. Your dad could turn... I was a little slow on that. Well, gosh, this stuff's beautiful. You need to get it on the internet. We got to get a website for you and get some of these pieces in New York galleries.
They need to go there. They'd be fun to see.
I wish you had a picture of the huge one that you did. Would there be any way? We're going to be wrapping up. In fact, we're supposed to be wrapping up right now. But if there's any way, I would love to...
So this one and his 4 buddies came out of Joan Dorian's tree.
Okay.
And her husband offered me the...
We really have to wrap it up. So it's okay, you can keep talking.
Okay,
no, keep going. We might be able to get it on.
So he offered me the stump.
Okay. I'm hoping they can get this on the
I
camera.
decided that I would try to carve the stump.
And that is absolutely brilliant.
And that stump is about 4 feet high, and it'll take any of these 5 masks. And you can see there's abalone along the upper shoulders.
So you can put different masks on it.
Yes. In fact, today I was taking pictures with this sea wolf mask on it.
Yeah.
It
Is that
creates a
the
different-
seawolf? Is that this mask on it?
No, that's a raven mask
Oh,
there.
that's the raven mask. You're amazing. Thank you for coming in and bringing your precious artifacts, I think I'd call them. I don't know. Pieces of art. Absolutely amazing.
Well, thank you.
I can't even pick a favorite. This one, to me, I think would be very challenging, but I do love this little guy.
He's awesome, isn't he? Just
Thank you to the best crew at TCTV. Goodbye, Mr. Feeney. Thank you, Kit, very much.
You're welcome.
It was delightful.
Thank you.
And bye, Meryl.
Goodbye, Meryl. Goodbye, Henry and Ruthie.
We the people here decree we've the right to life and liberty. We're all created equally in America, and we're going to live here happily in America. Our founding fathers crossed the seas and built the new world colonies. But King George wouldn't set them free, so they fought a revolution, the American Revolution. Oh, we the people here